Hey, good afternoon, Facebook Live, REI client, future clients, other real estate investors, anybody that's on here that's on our group today, which has almost 1,400 people in our Facebook group. So I'm so excited today to have Rose Mann and her husband Bill on today, and Mike Fisher. Both of these are current and longtime Memphis Invest and REI clients, and I'm going to spend a few minutes talking to them about how it's been working with our family over the years. But I want to first introduce you to them and then get them to tell a little bit about themselves and their situation. So, Rose, let's start with you and take a couple of minutes and tell us about yourself and where you're at and how we got started and what you do today. And go ahead, ma'am.
Well, my father was in real estate. I've kind of messed with it all my life, and I've always thought it was a bit of a headache. And my son started buying some property in Maryland where he lives. I call him a slumlord. They were not the best quality places. And so he kind of turned us on to Memphis Invest, and we went to a seminar, and I kind of like the way they do business. They try to buy, in a nicer area where you're going to get decent tenants and things like that. And so we started out buying with Bill's IRA. We bought 3 houses in the IRA. 1 was mortgaged, 2 were cash. In 3 years, we paid off the mortgage on the 1 with just the profits from the other 2 houses and then a house. So it worked out pretty good. So then we bought 4 with personal funds. So we now have 7. I haven't really sat down and done the numbers, but as long as it pays the payments and pays our car payment and has a little extra, we're good. So it's been good for us. We're happy with it, and we've never had to write a check. So, although that's not true, I did have to write 1 check, but it was out of the IRA, and it was for some repairs that they did. But otherwise, it's doing great. So we're happy with it.
Well, tell us what you and Bill do in Indiana.
Nothing. We are actually retired. My sister has some rental property, and I help her with some things. We're mainly our rentals that we have left from my father's. We're trying to just fix them up and sell them, and we're just getting too old to do this. So
I hear you.
Just leave all that repairs and stuff up to you guys now.
How has COVID affected you guys up there?
We're kind of in a more of a rural area. I mean, we're in a city, but it's not a huge city, and there hasn't been a lot of cases. Mostly they're nursing homes, but yeah, we haven't had. I have noticed. So my sister's looking at her house, and real estate seems like it goes in 2 days. I mean, she sees a house, we go drive up to look at it. It has a sale pending sign on it. So real estate here is flying. I don't understand how it can be selling so good with the economy being so bad, but it seems to be.
And maybe where you are, and possibly some people are wanting to get to the more rural areas and get out of some of these cities. Maybe I've been reading a little bit about that.
Yeah. My sister's here with us too, and I think. And what did that real estate agent tell you? That houses that were in 200,000s were selling. Anything above it, yeah. Some real estate agent told her that anything in around the 200 to 250 range is selling like hotcakes, but anything over that is not moving.
Wow. Well, let me go to Mike. I want to introduce you to Mike Fisher. He's down in, as I said before, down in Arlington, Texas. And Mike, take a minute and tell us about yourself and family and what's going on down in Texas today.
Thanks, Kent. My name is Mike Fisher. I've been with Kent, as he said, since 14, I think. My wife and I, Cindy, had started. We're both still working full time, like a lot of folks. And as we progress in our careers, you get to certain points and you start to look at, hey, as you get towards retirement, what are you going to be doing after that? We had started with watching rehab shows on television, very much like a lot of folks, and we're wondering how we got there. Why is that so difficult? We can do that. We're smart enough, right? We certainly weren't educated. And so we spent some time working through the Fortune Builders program, which then introduced us to, at the time, Memphis Invest, and now REI Nation. We have done rehab. My wife and I have done 3 rehabs in the Atlanta area. But in addition to doing rehabs, there's a good bit of risk associated with that. And so we were also looking to expand our personal portfolios into a different area, and hence Memphis Invest made a lot of sense, especially since my wife's company had a transition, which our first house purchase was actually through a 401k rollover. And the investment at that time was risky, especially there's a lot of concern when you don't quite understand the process. And that's the beauty of REI, or at least Memphis Invest at the time, was that the entire process was explained to us. And to this point now, we've managed to invest in 4 houses and are looking to acquire some others here in the near future. But that's, in a nutshell, that's basically how we got involved with the business.
Very good. Good job. Let me ask, I'll ask both of you this question. And again, investors that are on the phone today, on the call, review this, will know how important the property management is. And we talk about our property management all the time. We manage about 6,200 properties in 7 cities. Today we have, look over here, 48 vacancies. The numbers on that, that's not too bad. Tell me, I'll start with you, Mike. Tell me how important that the property management side of this has been for you for these 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, one of the things that concerned my wife and I was the ability, especially if you're an out-of-state buyer. We were up until a year and a half ago, we were living in Georgia, but we bought properties in Tennessee and Arkansas. And so the concern was, hey, I don't need to answer the call in the middle of the night because the toilet's backed up or the house is on fire, right? Something, and not always that bit dramatic, but the concern was I'm not going to be able to really property manage that. And so exploring that option with Memphis Invest, the property management issues, everything from finding the renters to getting the maintenance squared away to if eventually the renter turns over and the property turns over, is really, really important, because you get the situation is being handled and managed properly. Obviously you have insight and access to understand where it's at any time, and you can always ask questions. It's been very easy from that perspective. But for me, not having to manage the particular property is well worth the investment associated with it.
Rose, 3 or 4 years that you've been with us, how has Premier Property Management done for you, and how big a factor was that in your all's decision to continue to grow and have 7 houses now?
It was a big factor. I'm tired of the calls and running over and trying to fix everything yourself, and and also I also feel like that with Memphis Invest, you've done the research for your repairs. A lot of times we hire somebody to do something and it's never done right. And like we used to do our own roofs because any roofer we hired, we had leaks. But if us 3 girls got up there and roofed it, they didn't have any leaks. So, I feel like you get the right people to do the job and it's going to be done right.
Very good. Thank you. Rose, I could hear all that, but I think you're froze up on your picture side, and you're froze up on that side. But I did hear all that, so thank you very much. So
okay.
The property management side of it is obviously a big consideration, or the main consideration for anybody that's attempting to get into real estate. So let me ask you about the properties you own in different cities. So Mike, I know you own properties in Memphis and Little Rock. How have those properties in those areas done for you?
They've done extremely well. We've had they have stayed consistently rented. We've had very low turnover. We are, I think in the entire time that we've been rented, we've had one lady that's been with us the whole time. Very fortunate from that perspective. I have had turnover in the property, and that goes to Rose's point about property management and being able to rehab. But the rental process and the turnover, if it occurs, has been very consistent for us, and we've been very fortunate.
Very good. Rose, how the properties that you guys have, how have they been doing for you as far as the ones you have in Memphis and Dallas?
We've had a few turnovers, but nothing ever dramatic. I mean, normally they're just re-rented very quickly. It does take a little bite out when they take the first month's rent, but you know, that's part of it, and we just have to accept that and move on. But yeah, we've done pretty well. Like I said, we had 3 houses, and the 3 houses paid that one off, which was, I think, they got $57,000 mortgage in 3 years. So.
Yeah. Well, let me ask again about, and obviously one of the big things in our company is the customer service. We have 7 ladies that work in our customer service department, talk to our 2,200 investors every month, updating them on their properties and answering questions and doing a lot of the legwork for investors, which this is one thing that we do. We've done it since day one. But let me ask you, Mike, how is Michelle doing for you, and how has she been handling you?
Michelle is wonderful. She's one of those personalities that you can ask any question. She goes out of her way to try and resolve issues associated with you. I certainly have enjoyed the relationship that we've been managed to build. And after a while, you know, it seems like, well, it's just business, right? These folks are just working for you. But no, that's not really the case. Michelle makes it personal, inquires about, she knows our family, or at least through our conversations, I've been able to inquire about her family and that kind of thing, and build the working relationship so that you have a sense of comfort and sense of advocacy that you can turn to, especially when you have questions about, you know, by the way, in turnkey real estate, I think there's a perception that you guys just do everything. I don't really have to do anything. I disagree with that. I think people need to have the ownership of the business, and Michelle helps me with that, especially if I don't do it day to day. She explains any questions I have, and even if she doesn't have the answer, she gets back pretty quickly. So from that perspective, I really appreciate the relationship.
Very good. Rose, how does Carrie do for you on keeping you updated on all your properties?
She's terrific. We're great. Like, she called the other day and had a tenant that wanted the tub resurfaced, and you know, otherwise they were going to move. So I'm like, resurface the tub, you know, because that, I mean, it's worth it to do something like that to make somebody happy. And but yeah, Carrie and I, we chit chat about our families, and you know, I consider her a friend. We do great. She's wonderful.
Well, you guys got 2 of the really good ones down there. And like I said, we have 7 of them down there. They probably today have with us probably over 50, 60 years experience. They talking to our investors like you guys every single day down there. And I'm not sure anybody else in our business does that. I wanted to do that when we first got into business, because I was always frustrated that, and some of the things that we heard early on was that people most frustrated with property management because they could never get any answers. Nobody would ever answer the phone. Nobody would ever call them back. They couldn't get any communication.
Oh, yeah.
We want to attack that from a different side, and it seems to work really, really well for us. Rose, what advice would you give anybody that's on here today that is thinking about getting into this passive or thinking about doing business with REI? What advice would you give anybody on here today, which there will be a lot of people that are kind of thinking about this and they don't really know if they want to jump into this? What advice would you give them?
You know, just go for it. I mean, I think it's going to be good. I my state income tax in Indiana, and I was very interested in buying in areas that did not have state income tax, because I certainly don't want to go through that again. The place to go have picked do not have state income tax, which really has worked out well for us. I just didn't want to have a bunch of other tax states coming after me, and we finally got out of the problems with Indiana here, and a lot of money. So.
Very good, thank you. Mike, what advice would you? Mike, what advice? I lost you there again, Rose. When we go to Mike, till we get you back. Mike, what do you think is the advice that you would give to anybody on here thinking about getting into this?
The concern for most people, especially if they have any kind of outlay of money, at least in my opinion, is the level of trust. There's a certain consideration associated with that. it's very difficult, especially if you're buying a property sight unseen, to trust the process, and you have no idea, especially if it's the first home that you're buying as a investment property, much less a, your personal home. The difference here is if you look at the homework with an established company, the process that they use to evaluate the properties, the way the properties are acquired, the rehab and quality of the rehab work that gets accomplished on those, and then the track record of the properties under management as well as sales, which REI Memphis Invest has been very straightforward with. It gets to be a little bit, you're always questioning, right? But then you build the relationship over time. Now I have no reservation whatsoever. If I wanted to do another investment property ready to go, I'd pick up the phone and let's go. What do you have available? Obviously, at the first time is always the scariest, but my recommendation is do your homework, look for reviews, look for good and bad. I'm sure it's out there, but realistically speaking, the track record speaks for itself. You folks have been in business a long time. You know what you're doing, right? That's extremely helpful to somebody, especially if they're looking to diversify portfolio, or hey, I just want something different as an investment outside of what I'm normally doing.
There you go. Thank you. Rose, I know you work with Ashley Claunch.
Mhm.
How's Ashley done over the years for you, last couple of years for you? How has she been?
Oh, it's always been great. I was a little leery about buying some because I felt like I was buying at top appraisal value. But, as I've researched all of the properties that we've purchased, they've all, according to Zillow or Redfin, they've all gone up in price. And so, you buy, you think you're buying at a high price, but they've gone higher. So I've been really pleased with that. But yeah, Ashley's great. She explains everything. Everything went great. We just never had any problems with it at all. So, yeah.
Well, Ashley's been with us for 10 years, I'm sure. Been with us a long time. She's literally handled or been a portfolio advisor for that time, handled many, many, many transactions, probably over 1,000, maybe even more than 1,000. But she's really good. Our clients love her, and she does a great job for us. So, Mike, how's Mark Cobb been to work with? And I'm going to talk to him about why he doesn't have you in the WOW group yet.
Well, he doesn't, because I guess we're on the verge of that. Mark, again, has been extremely good to work with. This is the current situation. He knows that I was doing some rehab work. We had conversations associated with that. He discussed the properties, the extension of the process that you folks use, and then why investments in a particular area would be good based on the update of the information that you have, because I know your company's always looking into new investment areas associated with that. And so Mark explains that. And so then I said, okay, I'm ready to go. Where's the current areas that you're advising that we can go get some acquisition in? And he lays it out flat for you and says, what makes sense to you? Where you at? And early on, Rose tip to this just a little while ago was the state tax considerations associated with that. And if you're looking at some of those areas now, Arkansas, Texas, Florida, that's certainly a consideration. But anyway, to finish answering your question, Mark was great, at least in the acquisition phase. We haven't bought anything most recently, so be sure to give him a little bit of grief from me.
No, I will. He's on a much deserved vacation this week, and he'll be back in here next week. And of course, all the advantages of getting the WOW group. I think today we have 360 people that own 5 or more houses with us, and growing out of our 2,000. So there's a few little perks in there. But let me take a second and see if you guys had any questions that you wanted to ask me, or about the company or the industry or anything else, and we'll wrap up here in a few minutes.
I don't have any questions.
Michael, anything? Mike?
Yeah, so obviously, I have conversations with Michelle and Mark associated with this. Where in your mind right now, for people looking to invest, would you suggest the next set of investments, or where is the company looking forward to making the next set of investments in the hot markets?
Well, we're in the 7 cities of St. Louis, as you guys know, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Memphis, Little Rock, Dallas, and Houston. I believe that's the 7. And right now, we're probably locked down in those markets pretty good. We're buying all the houses we bought. Let's see, in July, we bought right at 70 houses in those 7 markets. Memphis is still the heaviest market, but Little Rock is really, really coming on. Dallas is well, in Memphis, we have about 3,700 properties. In Texas, we have about 1,500, but Little Rock is going to surpass Houston in the not too distant future. It's the market that as soon as we get them in Little Rock and we get them renovated and rented, they're gone very, very quickly. So, but Tulsa and Oklahoma City are really good markets for us. St. Louis is an emerging market that we're still working through up there and buying a few houses and testing that market. It's getting stronger for us. Houston is the same way down there. It's been a long staple for us, and this down there does pretty good for us. But we're just we just kind of stay in this little area right here. We may venture out a little bit down the road once we see where all this economy is going to go here.
Mhm.
And but we'll get our 800 or 900 houses this year that we normally do. We'll be getting close to 7,000 properties by right after the first year, or certainly first part of next year. And we just continue to do what we do. And we have today, fortunately, people like you guys here, our monthly sales of 70, 80 houses are made up by people like you guys. Over 50% of our customers today that buy every month are repeat customers. And the rest of it is new people that come in and listen to things like this and decide to get off or get in there and start getting going on real estate. But because of our customer service and our property management and people like Ashley and Mark Cobb and the other great people that work in our company, we continue to be able to, people come back and buy more and more houses from us because of the experience. And that's what we try to do. Are we perfect? No. Do we make mistakes? Yeah, there's going to be maintenance and move outs. But like you said, we're here 24 hours a day. We got this thing 7 days a week, and people don't have to worry about it. And then again, on the other hand, I don't know if you guys are in this category, but well over 50% of our customers have never seen their houses. They've never been to the house, have never seen them.
Yeah.
And houses that we sell every day, even more today than ever before, people have never seen them. And so our reputation, credibility, and the people that trust us is the most important thing to me and our family, that folks like you that trust us to take care of your asset and your properties and hundreds of thousands of dollars that you guys have invested. And we're very privileged to be able to do that for you guys. And hopefully we can continue to earn those opportunities and perform for you like you expect us to do. So let me see if you guys have any final comments before I let you guys get off here. I've tied you up for a little while. Rose, anything else to add today?
I was a little bit leery about the Dallas area because their taxes are really high, but the house we have in Dallas has very much appreciated. And I think I talked to Alan a while back, and he said they were going to kind of work on getting that tax rate lower just a little bit, but I don't know that it's happened. But overall, the last time we purchased, I didn't want to do Dallas because I thought they were too expensive, but they do seem to appreciate very, very quickly, and the rent value offsets the high tax rate.
Yeah, we've seen the rents kind of go up in all of our cities here recently. Our rental team and our collections department is doing great. Our rent, we're running ahead of July on collections already. The taxes are a little high over there. We're always trying to go back and get them lowered. It's just a process, Rose. It takes a little while to do, but we're always working on it. I know there's different ways you can go online in some cities and challenge the taxes and the appraisals, and it's just a process. We just got to keep working at it, and we'll try to keep knocking them down there. So thank you. Did you have anything else, Rose, today?
No, I think I'm good.
All right. Mike, final thoughts or comments?
Yeah, so thank you for the opportunity. Thank Michelle for the opportunity to talk to you. And for those folks that are considering this, I've had family members ask how I acquire properties. I've had friends ask how I acquire properties, and I'm pretty forthright with it. And when you show them, whether it's read the books, go online, take a look at some of the investments associated with it, understanding the process, looking at the people and the track record. If anybody's asking me, I'm telling you that the folks at REI Memphis Invest have done very well by us, and I believe it to be a good investment as part of any portfolio that you'd be looking at.
Well,
Certainly within consideration.
thank you. It's been my pleasure having both of you guys on here today. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to jump on here with us. And on behalf of the Clothier family, again, we appreciate the opportunity to serve you. We're here to take care of your properties and make your experience unbelievable. And we got a great team here of 90 people that do their jobs every single day. And we thank you again for the opportunity to serve you guys and for jumping on this call with me today. Have a great day, and I'll see you down the road.
Thanks,
All right,
Kent. You
thanks,
too.
Ken.
All right. Thank you very much.